So what does it actually look like when the kingdom arrives? I'm not talking about an idea or, some kind of metaphor. I mean, a real history-interrupting moment. Let's really dig into what that means.
Right off the bat, we've got to get one thing straight. This event isn't progress. It's not something that slowly evolves out of our best political or social systems. The Bible paints a totally different picture. It doesn't rise up from human achievement, it literally breaks in from the outside, a sudden divine interruption.
And this interruption, it isn't random, not at all. It's actually the long-awaited fulfillment of a very specific, unbreakable promise, a covenant made thousands of years ago in the Old Testament. It's really the final chapter of a story that began a long, long time ago with a king.
This right here, this is the moment it all began. God is speaking directly to King David. And you have to notice the specific words he uses: house, kingdom, throne, and that key word, forever. This isn't some vague spiritual hope. It's a rock-solid, concrete promise of a real, physical, and eternal dynasty for Israel. And this promise, it becomes the bedrock for absolutely everything that follows.
And this wasn't just a one-off promise that was made and then forgotten. It became a chorus, echoed by all of Israel's major prophets: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Zechariah, Micah. They were all pointing to the exact same future: a restored, physical kingdom on earth, with its capital in Jerusalem, ruled by a descendant of David.
So, okay, the Old Testament is crystal clear on this. But then what happens when we jump forward to the New Testament? Was this whole idea of an earthly kingdom for Israel just canceled? Or was it actually reaffirmed?
Well, this quote says it all. This is the angel Gabriel speaking to Mary about Jesus, and the connection he makes is brilliant. He doesn't use vague, general terms. He uses the exact language from that original promise to David, the throne of his father David, reign over the house of Jacob forever. The New Testament literally opens by identifying Jesus as the one who will fulfill that very specific, very earthly royal promise.
All right, so here's the crucial question, the one a lot of people ask. Did the church, and this idea of a spiritual kingdom in the hearts of believers, did that just replace the older, physical promise made to national Israel?
The answer we see all throughout the New Testament is a really clear no. That expectation didn't get replaced or spiritualized away. It absolutely continued, even among the people who are closest to Jesus.
Just look at the evidence here. In Acts 1, and this is after the resurrection, the disciples come to Jesus and ask, "Lord, are you at this time going to restore the kingdom to Israel?" Now notice his reply. He corrects them about the timing. He says it is not for you to know, but he never ever corrects their actual expectation of a restored kingdom for Israel. Jesus himself even promised the apostles they would sit on 12 thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And then you have the Apostle Paul in Romans, who argues so passionately that God is not finished with national Israel, that their rejection is only temporary.
Okay, so if the promise is still valid, what does its fulfillment, the arrival, actually look like? This is where we shift from history and theology to a future, undeniable, and truly global event.
And this is the fundamental difference, the thing we have to get. This kingdom is not the peak of human effort. It's not something we build. It's something that descends. It doesn't rise up from the earth. It comes down from heaven.
This chart just makes the contrast so incredibly clear. Our human systems, they evolve gradually. The divine kingdom, it arrives in a sudden interruption. We build our societies from the ground up. This one descends from heaven down. Our social changes can be subtle, sometimes hard to see. This event, well, this event will be globally, undeniably visible to every single person on earth.
The prophet Zechariah described this exact moment. This isn't some secret reign or a hidden influence. It's an open, established reality. The Lord will be king over all the earth. It's the final unification of all power and all authority in one person, and everyone will know it.
So what happens when the king arrives? What are the consequences? What does the world actually look like under his direct rule? Well, it's nothing less than a complete restoration of peace and justice on a global scale.
We're talking about a total global transformation here. First, real peace. For the first time in human history, war will simply cease to exist. Second, perfect justice. The king will rule directly with absolute righteousness. Third, creation itself gets renewed. The very nature of the world is restored. And fourth, unified worship, as all the nations literally come to Jerusalem to see and worship the king.
And this period actually has a specific name and a specific duration. In the book of Revelation, it's defined as a 1,000-year reign.
It's what theologians call the millennial kingdom. And this is the moment when all those Old Testament promises to Israel are finally and literally fulfilled, right here on earth.
You know, we've been talking about this huge cosmic geopolitical event, but the Bible always brings this grand narrative down to a deeply personal level for every single one of us.
And to really get the personal implications, it helps to understand this key distinction that many theologians point out. The Bible seems to show God working with two distinct groups: Israel, which was promised an earthly kingdom, and the church, which is promised a heavenly one. The promises are different, and this framework is what keeps that promise of a literal earthly kingdom for Israel from just being spiritualized away.
Because here's the thing, when the king arrives and his authority is finally established, nothing stays hidden. It becomes a moment of absolute, total clarity. Every choice we've ever made, every loyalty we've ever held, it's all finally and fully revealed for what it truly is.
And all of this leads to the final, unavoidable question. It isn't, when is this all going to happen? The real question is this: where will you stand when it does? When the true king is revealed, which kingdom will your life have been aligned with all along?
Because the kingdom, it cannot be stopped. It is an absolute certainty. And when it comes, you won't question it. The only question left will be, were you ready?